And we're live. Welcome back for another deadline stream. Thank you all for joining me this morning. Hope you're all doing very well on this Saturday morning, 1 hour away from the deadline. How are we all doing? Thank you so much for being here. We've got 849 tuning in already. Unbelievable turnout. Appreciate you all being here. We've got loads to talk about on this stream. We're going to do the news roundup. I'll talk about my team for this game week. We'll have a look at the most transferred players, kings of the game week, scout selection, predicted points, and all your questions answered. So get your questions in the chat. Welcome to this stream. FPL 18, Never Give Up FPL, Delia, FPL Dark, Sam Lewis, Pawan, Callum, JM, Ryan Porteous. Welcome to the stream. Ryan says, will De Silva start? I believe he will start, yeah. In the press conference, he was saying that Damsgaard won't start this game week, maybe used at some point. Not necessarily competing for the same spot, but I'd say De Silva looks good for this game week. So, yeah, I think he's fine to start. I wouldn't expect his goals to continue. He has scored 2, but his 2 goals came from something like 0.07 XG. So I wouldn't, start him and expect the returns to continue. But it is a good fixture for Brentford against Fulham this game week. Mikhail says, Casemiro in, making Dallo better cheap option. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, we'll talk about the Casemiro signing. Let me know in the chat what you think of the signing. I think he's going to be a good signing, but I also thought the same about Sancho, so what do I know? But yeah, I think Casemiro, yeah, you're right. He's fully expected to improve them from a defensive point of view. I'm not looking at Dallo anywhere in the near future. I think there's probably better picks for 4.5, or I think he's even 4.4 now, but I'd say I prefer, like Dunk, Saliba, Henry, those kind of players for the same price. Q apparently says, should I start Andreas or De Silva? I think I would start Andreas myself. A lot of people are on Nico Williams this week. Those of you that are on Andreas/Nico/Patterson, which one are you starting? Because I've got the same dilemma. I've got Nico and Andreas, and I've started Andreas myself. I think Fulham are, a different beast at home. They're still probably favourites to go down, or in the bottom 3, but they're a much better side at home, and Andreas is back. I think the yellow flag's putting people off starting him, but he was in training. Everything looks good for Andreas to start this one, and obviously he's on set pieces, so I think Andreas is fine to start. Schlock says Ake starts. Yeah, I think he almost certainly starts. I think it's Ake's spot to lose right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Barcelona play on Wednesday. Sorry, Man City play on Wednesday against Barcelona. I think Pep said that whoever doesn't start this game week will be the ones that play there. So, I don't imagine Haaland plays midweek. Maybe comes off the bench. A lot of people on Nico. Loads of people on Nico. Florence is on Patterson. Some questions about Bailey. Yeah, Bailey's a really frustrating one. I didn't expect him to be benched last game week, obviously, or I wouldn't have started him. But yeah, he's a really frustrating dilemma, and he has had a price drop, so I think he's 4.9 now. So yeah, he's going to be second on my bench. I would rate Nico and Pereira ahead of him. The problem is there's not really many good options in that price bracket, 5.5 mil. So I'm hoping to shift to a back 5 by game week 4. I may end up doing something like Nico to Saliba or Dunk in game week 4. And then, yeah, Bailey will still be there in the team, but on the bench. It just makes sense because there's so much more value in the defenders for that 5.5 price. Andrea, thank you for becoming an fplfocal member. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Yeah, if anyone's interested, it's the join button below the stream. There's a private channel on the Discord for members. And you get early access to my videos, and you get a badge by your name in chat and the comments, etc. Another member in the chat, Rohan, he says, hey mate, how are you? Do you think Perisic starts? I do. I think Perisic starts. I'd say 75% chance. I noticed that quite a few journalists have predicted Perisic to start as well. So, yeah, I would say it's probably his game week. I think he starts this one, but I would say he's not... Right now, he doesn't look like a reliable asset. You wouldn't be at all surprised if the rotation continues with Sessegnon. Willy Wanker says, will Elliot get minutes? Absolutely love that username. If this is Liverpool's Elliot, then yes, I would say Elliott does get minutes, but I wouldn't go there. I'd say there's 3 or 4 better Liverpool assets to have, so I wouldn't touch Elliott personally. That sounded awful. Thanks, Rohan. Zoltan says, does Andreas start? Yeah, I would say Andreas starts, yeah. He's back in training. Wilson's out as well, so he looks even more nailed than he was. So that's why I'm starting him as well. So yeah, just to summarise my transfers this week, I have sold Digne. Good riddance to Digne. Thanks for his 0 points from the opening 2 game weeks. Digne's gone. Cucurella in. I was considering Gabriel as well. It was close between Cucurella and Gabriel. What worries me slightly about Chelsea is Kante's out injured and Kovacic is also out. So it could be something like Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek in a double pivot. And I think they struggled a lot last season when those two were out. So could affect Chelsea's clean sheet chances, but yeah, it was close. Cucurella's just got way more attacking threat. He'll take the corners down the left side because Tuchel loves an outswinger. So I think Cucu's a good pick. Not nailed either, I have to add, but I think he's a good pick. Quant says, Luca Digne is the king FPL troll. He is. You know what? Speaking of FPL troll, I saw that Dennis has signed for Forest, who can give him a run for his money, I would say, after that infamous -1 points in the double game week last season. Should we do a quick news roundup? Because we haven't even talked about the various news this game. We'll start off with Chelsea, since we've been talking about Cucurella. Tuchel and Chilwell and Cucurella said, if we play a back 4, I would say they're competing for a place, but in a back 5, they're not. Ben is a clear wing back, but Cucurella can do both. So this is the other thing I like about Cucurella, is that he's got the flexibility to play left centre back or in left wing back. Obviously, Darwin Núñez serves the first of his 3-match suspension after headbutting Anderson last game week. So I think this actually adds to Salah and Diaz's appeal this game week, because it's probably going to be Firmino that plays, and he tends to be the creator and plays deeper than Núñez. So yeah, Nottingham Forest spending so much money this window. What do you guys think about this signing? Gibbs White for a deal reportedly worth 44.5 mil. I think we signed Ødegaard at Arsenal for something like 35 million, and that was euros. And I think City signed Phillips for about the same as this. It seems like English tax to me. It's a lot. We'll have to see if it lives up to the price tag, but yeah, it's a very expensive signing. Bit of Arsenal news. Gabriel Jesus broke 80% ownership yesterday, which is obviously a record. The record was 73%, so I tweeted this morning about this actually. I think it's a perfect storm of, he's a new signing, he's in form, he's underpriced, and then obviously there was about 2 million Núñez owners looking for a new striker. So yeah, 80%. And his ownership's going to be so high this game week that if he's not your captain, you actually want him to blank. And lastly is Casemiro, signs for Man United. Casemiro is a red. What do you guys think of that? Good signing? Or is he going to end up on the same trajectory as Varane and Sancho? On paper, signings that look like absolute quality, but end up being flops, arguably. Robertson out for Cucurella. It's a good question from Tevin this week. On yesterday's experts video, they were quite divided about whether to keep hold of Robertson or sell. I think there's no right or wrong answer, but if you've got Trent, I think it's more justified. Yeah, English tax. That's the problem. Yeah, in the Premier League, English players tend to go for more. Yeah, like I was saying, look at a player like Ødegaard. Arguably a world-class talent, and we paid 35 million euros, I think it was, and they've signed Gibbs White for 45 million pounds. But yeah, I don't mind the Robertson to Cucurella move, but I'd prefer someone like James or Cancelo if you don't own them. And I'd only make that move if you don't have a Liverpool defender. I tweeted yesterday actually, Trent is top among all players yet to get an attack in return for expected goal involvement. So the points will come, and they probably will come for Robertson as well, but I can understand the frustration to get rid of him. Janega says, selling Alisson to Diaz from -4. Oh, it's gone off screen. Where did it go? Selling Alisson to Diaz from -4, 3 moves. I think it's worth it. Therefore, I'm asking the best 4.5 mil goalkeeper to get. And Nico or Patterson, better buy and play this week. So best 4.5 mil keeper, it's easily between Sanchez and Raya for me. I don't think the others are as good at options. You know, if you look at the fixtures, see if we can get the fixture ticker up here. You look at the fixtures on the horizon. You know, Brentford's here, Fulham, Everton, Palace, Leeds, Southampton, Arsenal, Bournemouth. And you look at Brighton's, West Ham, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. They've both got very, very good fixtures for the foreseeable, and honestly, there's nothing to separate the two. But those would be the two I'd narrow it down to. Gun to my head, if I had to pick one, I'd go Brentford, but go Raya. But you know, they're both very, very good picks, and that's who I would go for. And Nico or Patterson, I would say Patterson just about. Really, not much between those two either. Nico looked really good last game week. But I'd say Forest less likely to keep a clean sheet. I think Forest are rock bottom for XGC actually. Not that Everton are particularly likely, but Everton are well above Forest on the clean sheet odds this game week. Start Neto or Andreas? That's a good question as well. If I had both, I would be very tempted to start Andreas over Neto. I really don't see Wolves scoring this game week. To be honest, Fulham may not either, but I think Fulham are probably slightly likelier. In fact, I think Spurs are top of the clean sheet odds, so I would go for Andreas. I think this is one of those game weeks where a lot of us are using bench fodder. You know, some of us are starting Andreas or Nico or Patterson, those kind of players. ADS says, is it worth transferring out Saka for Martinelli? It depends what you use that money towards. You know, what is it, like 1.6 mil or something now? It's a lot of money, but it depends if you reinvest that money or not, because Saka's going to score more points over the season, I feel. I don't think it'll even be that close. I think Saka will score more over the season, so it's just where you spend that money. If it's just a single move this game week, then I wouldn't make it. I would just keep hold of Saka. Also, Martinelli's 2 goals have come from 3 shots in total. So, Hazabal says, is Liverpool versus Man United postponed? Not postponed. I know there's going to be protests on. And obviously we had a postponement before when they played one another. But I think police are going to be well aware of that. And I can't see it being postponed. Ayush says, Focal, what are your moves? I've made my move already. I made it a couple of days ago before Digne dropped in price. So good riddance to Digne, he's gone. Cucurella is the one replacing him. So welcome to the team, Cucurella. Doubled up on Chelsea, which is a little bit risky, but I like Chelsea's fixtures over the next few. I think Cucurella, there is going to be a game here and there where Chilwell starts, but I think Tuchel does favour him. Certainly sounded like it from his comments in the press conference. And Chilwell played with the youth squad. I think it was under 23s to get his fitness up. So yeah, I don't think he's near the starting 11 yet. Nikolai says captaincy poll. Should we do a captaincy poll? See where you guys are leaning. Right, create poll. Who are the options this game week? Who is your captain for game week 3? So we've got Salah, Haaland, Jesus, De Bruyne. Is there anyone else? Who am I forgetting? Son and Kane. Add other. There we go. Vote and type. Multiple choice. Is that right? Create poll. There we go. Let's see how you guys are looking for captaincy this week. Get your votes in. Yeah, I could have included Cancelo. I don't think he's a bad shout. We'll see if there's any votes for other for Cancelo. Oh, did I miss a super chat? Let me go back up. Get your votes in on the poll. I'm just scrolling up to try and spot that. Walker to Kukurea. Want to chase the upside? No, I wouldn't make that move. I'd keep hold of Walker, definitely. Not a move you need to make right now. I think that's a very luxury move. If I had 2 transfers and absolutely nowhere else to spend it, I'd consider it, but otherwise, no. Oh, you can add your own answers. What have I done here? I've completely messed this up. Arnold. Nunez. I've somehow set it up so you can add your own answers. I have to click off this before someone puts something that's going to get me demonetized. Sorry about that. I think it was Salah top. Rewind it if you wanted to spot the answers. In fact, I can just watch my stream back. It's slightly delayed. Yeah, Salah was top. What was this percent? I've scrolled down now. 59%. It was 25% for Jesus. Interesting. Omcard says, would you go for Perisic over Cuckoo now with new information? No, I wouldn't. I feel like Perisic starts this game week, but his minutes are a big worry for me, and I don't really have the flexibility to deal with that. You know, if there's an unexpected benching in Game Week 4, I've got Andreas v Arsenal, Nico v Tottenham, and Bailey. so I probably wouldn't. I feel like Cuckoo's okay for the next few. But there was one manager in the Expert Series who has the armband on Perisic, and he's come top 100 in the world before, so it could be a huge shout. Has anyone been playing Fanslide this season? I've been playing it since the end of last season. It's good actually. It goes well with FPL because you pick your players after the deadline or after the lineups come out. You just pick like 3 players, and then you like drag them up for triple points, double points, or single points. And then after 20 minutes, you pick like another 3 players, and you keep rotating your picks like that throughout the game. It's good actually, and it's free. So if anyone wants to join my mini league, I've put it in the description. Yeah, it's in the description. play.fanslide.com/FPLFY. Yeah, it's good. It's free, and you basically get triple points for a player, double points for a player. So I had Luis Diaz when he got his goal last game for triple points. So it's like triple captaincy basically, but you just pick 3 players instead of an entire squad of 15. So if anyone wants to join that, my mini league is in the description. It's totally free, but I think it's 18 plus if you want to play with me. But yeah, get involved, join my mini league. Sink says, De Silva or Andreas to start? I would go Andreas, but there's not much between the two. Pingu, thanks for the super chat. He says, start Neto or Nico. Top marks if you can read that one out loud without mixing up the similar names. I almost did. It's been really a nightmare on Twitter, actually, reading them. Because you have to like reread when you're reading people talking about them to make sure you've understood it right, which one they're talking about. Start Neto or Nico? I think Nico. I think he looked absolutely quality last game. He took 4 shots. He created 2 big chances. I don't know if he'll get a clean sheet, but you know, Everton don't look good in attack, so maybe there's a chance. But yeah, I think he's something like 12th among all players for expected goal involvement, yet to get an attack in return. So yeah, I'd go Nico. I did read that Jimenez is going to be back in the Wolves squad for this weekend, so that's perhaps a boost for Wolves. Something to keep an eye on how that affects them in their attack, because perhaps he was a miss. You know, they were quite one-dimensional while he was out because they had no recognised striker. Tom Gilkison says, who would you start out of Patterson and Gross? Gross all day, 100% Gross. After Jesus and Haaland, Gross is 3rd among all players for expected goal involvement, so it's got to be him. Sanchez or Ward? I think I'd go Sanchez. Chris says, why aren't you back in KDB against Newcastle? I think KDB is a great pick against Newcastle. The problem is, with most of our teams, is that most of us are on players like Salah or Son. You know, you can only have really 2 premiums. So yeah, don't get me wrong. I think KDB could do extremely well over the next few. I've got Haaland, you know, if I can use the word coverage. In fact, I love these 2 fixtures here. Crystal Palace at home and then Forest at home. Especially that Forest home game. Could be a bloodbath, that one. Haaland to Kane. I don't think I'd make that move. I think I would just keep hold of Haaland for now. But it could be a very ahead of the curve pick going Haaland to Kane. Don't get me wrong. I think maybe from game week 6 onwards, you could make the switch to Kane. You know, when the Champions League starts up, it wouldn't surprise me if Haaland gets the occasional bench in so that he gets starts in the Champions League. So something to be mindful of. Whereas Kane's kind of you know, he's safe for 90 minutes every game week kind of player. Nico Williams or Andreas. I think you can't go wrong with either. It seems to be very, very divided. I did a poll yesterday asking exactly that because I was struggling to decide myself. And it was pretty 50-50. I'm on Andreas myself. Andreas says, is the risk of the postponement in the Liverpool game big enough to avoid bench boosting? I would be so surprised if the game's postponed, I'll be honest. You know, the police and the organisers and all that, they've been there before with the Man United Liverpool game getting postponed. So I'd be extremely surprised. It'd be a massive cock-up if it gets suspended again or postponed. So, no, I'd say no, but it's also pretty bold to use the bench boost this game week. But yeah, it totally depends on your bench. Last season I used it in a single game week, to be fair, and it came off. But it is a little bit riskier in a single game week, arguably, because you only get one roll of the dice, whereas double game weeks, if you do have a bench of double game week players, you at least get 2 rolls of the dice. Ari says, Bailey, Lingard, Neto, start 2, bench 1. I would start Lingard and Neto, bench Bailey. Until it's clear that Bailey's back in the starting 11, he's too much of a risk to go there for me. So I would bench Bailey, and that's what I've done. I've got him second on the bench. Appreciate everyone that has tuned in so far. We've got 2,500 tune in. If you are enjoying the stream and all the content I prepared for it and whatnot, please do hit like and subscribe. We're closing in on 100k, by the way. I can't believe this, right? 97.7k when I started the stream anyway, so we're very, very close to 100k. We're going to take a look at the most transferred players. In fact, before I show you, guesses in the chat, who is the most transferred in player heading into Game Week 3? Can you guess who they are? Most transferred in player. Hab says, start Williams versus Patterson. Trippier on the bench also. Yeah, I'd bench Trippier and I'd start Patterson. Thoughts on Tomiyasu? He's definitely in a void and definitely a sell. Right now, White's been playing right back and been doing well. Saliba in right centre back. So Tomiyasu's just not had an opportunity to start. So yeah, Tomiyasu's in a void. Hassis says, thanks for the stream. Ward, Iverson, Trent, Cancelo, Robert, Digne, Nico, Salah, Grealish, Martinelli, Bailey, Andreas, Vardy, captain, Kane, vice-captain, Archer. Is the wildcard worth it? Is that the team you're wildcarding into or out of? It's a good team, so that's your team right now. I wouldn't wildcard out of that. And I probably wouldn't wildcard into that either, if that makes any sense. I wouldn't have Bailey. I wouldn't have Grealish on the wildcard. And I'd have Diaz over Robbo on a wildcard. But I would say you don't need to wildcard. I'd probably just sell Digne this game week. Most transferred player, who was it? Martinelli. 1.2 million managers have picked up Martinelli. Jack got it. A few people got it. Sam got it. Ash got it. Shout out to Ash in the chat. He always leaves nice comments on my videos. Shout out to you, Ash. Most transferred out. No surprises. Darwin Nunez. 1.2 million managers have sold Nunez off the back of his suspension. Interestingly, he's owned by 2.3 million, so that means almost half haven't sold him. What does that say? Are those dead teams already, or what's going on there? There's no way if you're a serious manager, you still own him, right? Because 1.1 million managers currently still own Nunez. But that will probably creep up even more over the next half hour or so before the deadline. Who's going to be the king of the game at Game Week 3 then? This is the standings today. So it was Shah in Game Week 1 with his 15-pointer. Jesus with his 19-pointer, Game Week 2. Who's going to be the Game Week 3 king, top scorer? I think it tends to be a really random player. I know we had Jesus Gameweek 2, but last season it was always the most random players. You know, like Konsa or someone like that. Yeah, who do we think? Top scorer this game week. In fact, those of you on the Discord will know that we've got a channel where we play this every game week. You get to guess one player, and you can't guess a player that's been picked before. So if you're not on the Discord, link in the description. You've got another half an hour to get your guesses in on the Discord. And if you win, you get a little roll, coloured username. Money May says it's going to be Cuckoo. So does Bergivan, he reckons it's Cuckoo. Orel says Mo, safe pick. Dealer reckons Jesus back-to-back. I don't know if we've ever had back-to-back Kings of the Game Week. Kodak says it's Kane. Adash reckons Grealish. Toby says Rodrigo. I saw an interesting comment from Marsh in the press conference. He was talking about how Rodrigo's captain now, you know, the form he's in. And he's also saying that Rodrigo's on penalties now. It's just a shame it's Chelsea this game week. Maybe it's a move that can wait 1 week, and then maybe game week 4, when Leeds fixtures look much, much better, you make the move. Oscar says Salah. Marwan says Sterling. Renegade says Harrison. That is a hell of a shout if it's Harrison. Zentha says Gordon. Mavar says Dina. I swear to God, if it's Dina, I'm deleting the channel. I'm deleting my team if it's Dina. Don't even get me started on Dina. Sol says Tony captain. I think he's not a bad shout for captaincy, but I think there's quite a few players I'd put ahead of him. I'd say Salah, Jesus, Haaland, Cancelo are probably all better picks than Tony. But I don't hate the Tony pick. THJD reckons Bowen. Bowen's a good shout. It'd be nice if Bowen could haul this game week so he comes back into our thinking. Such a good asset last season, but he's not been an option so far. The other 8mm mids just looking better right now. Speaking of 8mm mids, I reckon Mount is going to come back to haunt anyone who has sold him. I think he's going to do exceptional over the next 3 or 4 game weeks. Delia says, Arteta said Jesus was not happy with 2 goals. He wanted to score more, and they're playing against Bournemouth, so he should do good. Yeah, he looks so hungry. Just looks like an absolutely quality signing. I mean, 2 goals, 2 assists is just ridiculous. Involvement in all 4 goals. Morning, Matt. How we doing, mate? Got about half an hour till the deadline. Keep your questions coming. Hit like on the stream if you are enjoying it so far, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I post 4 or 5 videos every game week and do deadline streams every game week, so subscribe for that if nothing else. Super chat from Ari. He says, what's up with the insider trading feature on Discord? It hasn't shown transfers from this season, has it? No, it's not. It pulls the data out of a Twitter account, Insider FPL, and for whatever reason they've not been doing the insider trading. I've been posting a few tweets myself with the insider trading moves, but yeah, it's not the same, not comparable. Hopefully it's back this game week. I'll actually write a note here to DM him because I did speak to him a few times last season, and I'll find out if he plans to bring it back or not, because yeah, it's a good bot. Ash says, please not Mount, mega regret. I'm telling you, Mount's going to do well over the next 4 or 5 game weeks. It's such a good run of fixtures in my opinion. You know, Leeds this game week, Leicester. I saw that Fofana's not even going to be in the squad this weekend because he's on his way to Chelsea, or at least he's agreed terms, and it's just up to Leicester now to accept the bid. Did I miss a super chat? One sec, Mikhail, let me scroll up. Thought I did it. Can you ask it again, Mikhail? It's gone off the screen. I don't know how to go up and find it again now. Is there a way to do that? To like go back and see ones that have disappeared? Ask it again, Mikhail, and I'll try and spot it. Sorry about that. In the meantime, let's have a look at the Scout Selection for Gameweek 3. Something we like to do each game week just to see how the Scout are lining up, which players they've picked, and whether they're good picks or not. They've got Guaita in goal. Back 4, Trent, Cancelo, James, Gabriel. Pretty template back 4. Midfield, Salah, captain, Kulusevski, Maddison, Mount, Gundogan, and Jays is up top. What do we think? Trying to find your message, Mikkel. Send it again. Super chat from Churchill Cigar. Great username. He says, is it worth taking a 4-point hit to upgrade Neto to Diaz? Yeah, it is in my opinion. That's worth it. That's a really, really good upgrade. You know, Diaz looks like an excellent pick. Scored an absolute worldie last game week. I think, like I said earlier, I think it plays to him and Salah's hands with Nunez out. It's going to be Firmino starting in all likelihood. And he's more of a creator than a finisher. So, yeah, I really like the Diaz pick. You know, and if Jota is back for Gameweek 4, then he'll play striker. So he's not even competing with Diaz right now, which was a small possibility and can happen at some point. So yeah, I'd take that -4. Best Foot says, not sure where to spend my transfer. Maybe Bailey or Neto. Got 0.5 in the bank and 2 free transfers. Taylor. Taylor? Who's Taylor? Is that the striker Taylor? I don't normally look up the IDs because it's a bit of faffing around, but give me a second. So this is your team. You've got 0.5 in the bank. Right. Yeah, it's a really, really solid team. I wouldn't sell Taylor because there's no one to go to. And it's difficult because you've got 2 free transfers. I wouldn't be opposed to burn the transfer, but failing that, I'd probably do Nico Williams to Dunk, something like that. Or a Brentford defender, such as Henry. Those are the only moves I'd consider. Dunk or Henry, or burn the transfer. And don't be afraid to burn the transfer. You know, someone actually talked about that on the last Experts video. They said if it's the best option, don't be afraid to do it. Because sometimes it is. Still can't see Mikkel's message. Mikkel says, asked if we can look at Magnus Carlsen's team, as it's usually not template. We can, yeah. Let's have a look at Magnus's team. It is template, though. It's really template. This is Magnus Carlsen's team. For those of you interested. He came top 10k last season, and he's finished top 10 in the world before. So, yeah, it's very template. He's gone big at the back. Ramsdale, Trent, Walker, Cancelo, Robertson, James, Salah, Martinelli, Rashford, Haaland and Jesus. Rashford's really the only interesting one he's chucked in there. He rolled the transfer, so he's going to make at least one, and I think he sells Rashford. He'll probably do something very template like Rashford to Gross. Or maybe he'll go a bit rogue on another 5.5 mil mid, like Gray or Gordon or Eze. But yeah, after the deadline, I'll tweet his team anyway, as I do. Jack says, start one of Williams, Neto, Andreas. I've got Raya in goal. For me, it's Andreas, but because I've got the same combination, Nico and Andreas, I wouldn't start Neto myself. I don't think Wolves score this game week. Spurs top of the clean sheet odds, so I think it has to be Andreas or Williams. I've started Andreas, but it's really, really close. Basically, Forest are likelier to concede, but Fulham are likelier to score. Is that right? Did I say that right? So I like Andreas anyway. You know, he's on set pieces. You know, with Nico, there is the potential to lose points if they concede 2 or 4. Probably won't happen, but Andreas is kind of a higher floor pick, if that makes sense. Two and a half thousand tune in. Thank you all for being here. I hope you are enjoying the stream so far. It's still unbelievable to me that so many tune in for these deadline streams. I love doing them, and it's so cool to chat with everyone as we approach the deadlines. I might do a video tomorrow. I did one last weekend on like 10 things we've learned from Game Week 2. I might do a similar style video because it did really well. Got a good reaction. Deshant says, Maddison or Cooley for a -4. I think Cooley. I really like Tottenham's fixtures, and I don't like that I have no Spurs players in my team. But I don't know if I'd do it for a -4. It depends who you're selling, Deshant. Totally depends who you're selling. If I had to pick between the two, I'd go Cooley though. Tanoki says, who do you support? I'm an Arsenal fan. I've got my Arsenal cap on. Can you see that? Sam Louis says, Spurs team news. I'll have a quick look actually if there's been any news or Any leaks for the first game of the game week? Nothing there. Let's have a look here. Nah, nothing. I'll have one more check right before the deadline anyway. Keep your questions coming in. Uh-oh, my headset just beeped. Low battery. Jesus or Salah captain? I'm on Salah. I've got the 2 and I've gone for Salah. You know, last season he scored, I think, 5 times across the home and away games and a couple of assists. That infamous Game Week 9 last season. Who remembers Game Week 9 last season? Chelsea v Norwich. Chelsea were at home. Everyone went Havertz captain. Chelsea scored 7 and Havertz didn't score any. And I went Salah that week on Man United instead, and that was when he got like a hat-trick and an assist. It was a monster game week for Salah. I'd be highly surprised if he does the same again, but I like the Salah pick myself. Tatenda says, how important is it to build up team value early in the season? I'm finding myself making more decisions to build team value. It's important, but also don't make decisions purely to gain team value. Really, it's just make early moves if required to build team value. So, for example, I sold Digne for Cucurella. When was it? I think Thursday night. I like to make my moves very last minute because then you've got the maximum amount of possible information. And that does help you sometimes make the best decision. In that case, I didn't. I did it a day early, but that was because Digne was dropping and I felt like it was a safe enough gamble. But I wouldn't be making transfers, you know, on Sunday night every game week. That's got a recipe for disaster, and it will go wrong at some point. Drop Robertson to Perisic on a free to free up cash for next week, asks Murray. I think it's a good move. I think Perisic starts, but if I had Robbo myself, I don't think I would sell for Perisic. I'm just not sure about Perisic's minutes long term, basically. You know, if you're thinking short term, then I think Perisic is a really, really good pick. I do think he starts this game week, but it's just so unclear what his minutes will look like longer term. Especially when the Champions League's back. You know, and Sessegnon's not done that badly. I'd be tempted to hold Robbo. Tom Brady says, Reece James, vice-captain shout. It's not a bad shout, but I do think there's better picks. In fact, let's have a look at the projected points. These are from FPL Review, and these are the top 10. FPLreview.com, really, really good site for projected points. They've got Salah top 7.3 points, and Kane and Son. Haaland is 4th at 5.7. Luis Diaz, Saka, Jesus, Maddison, Mitrovic, and Vardy. So yeah, James doesn't make the top 10. So in terms of vice captaincies, whoever isn't your captain here, I would make your vice captain if you own them. So in my case, I'm on Salah captain, Haaland vice. Simple as that. Vabble in the chat. How we doing, Vabble? Long time subscriber of the channel. It's really cool actually. I always recognise names across multiple videos. People who leave regular comments or are in live streams regularly. And I do read every comment, so thank you everyone, whoever does leave comments on my videos. But likewise, if you're a lurker, that's fine as well. No hard feelings. Start Rodrigo or Andreas. Rodrigo. Sanchez versus Henderson. Sanchez. Beanbag says, what are your reasons for starting Pereira over Nico? I feel that Forest do concede, and really you're just counting on an attacking return for Forest if that's the case. Whereas Andreas, I feel like he's got a higher floor. His floor is obviously 2 points. It's not a high floor. But Nico's could be 1 or 0 if he concedes a couple of goals or gets booked. I know Andreas could get booked as well. But Andreas is on set pieces as well for Fulham. So playing at home, not much in it, but he just about gets the edge for me. It's a close one though. If you guys are on Andreas, Nico and Patterson, who are you starting between the three? Da Silva or Andreas? I think Andreas as well, personally. Go Andreas. Yeah, but really, these are just the 11th man decisions we're making, right? Which is good, because we're happy with the rest of our team. It's just that 11th man. Which one do we start? And realistically, there's not going to be much of a swing there. They probably both get 2-pointer, but yeah, I like Andreas slightly more. Nikolai starting Nico. Yeah, Nico seems to be marginally the more popular one. David's on Andreas. Indra says, Mr. Focal, Madison captain punt. Not for me. I mean, it's not a bad punt at all. We saw he's in the top 10 for predicted points, but not for me. I prefer Salah, Jesus, Haaland, Son, Kane. If anyone's not a member of the fplfocal Discord, I'll chuck the link in the chat. It's a really, really useful FPL resource. We've got things like, bear with me, price changes. We've got the lineups, live scores, live points. This is all automated by a bot. Bonus points, Gameweek stats, injury updates, top 10k stats, and loads more. Deadline alerts, and you can actually pick which alerts you want to receive as well. There's a channel called Pick Alerts. So if you want to join, I'll chuck a link in the chat. I'll be on there as soon as the stream ends. Thoughts on Trippier? Trippier, if I would bench him this game week, definitely. I wouldn't sell him if you've got someone you can rotate this game week, because I think he's still a decent long-term pick. You know, it's just not a great fixture this week and one you don't want to start him in. But if you need to sell him, then I like Cucurella, Gabriel, Dunk, Saliba, Henry, all great picks. Yeah, there's the Discord if you want to join. How long we got? 15 minutes till the deadline. Keep your questions coming. If you're enjoying the stream, do hit like on it. I hate to ask, but it makes a massive difference on the YouTube algorithm in terms of whether they push my content to people or not. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Andrew as well, thank you for becoming an fplfocal member. Appreciate that as well. If you're interested, if you link your Discord to your YouTube account, you get access to the lounge, which is a private channel on the Discord. Where I'm online chatting, answering questions, get early access to videos and stuff. If anyone's interested in becoming a member or patron, links are in the description. Thank you for that, appreciate that. Mitchell says, Nico Williams, Bailey, Neto, Andreas, need to pick 2 to start. Definitely wouldn't start Bailey. I'd probably start Nico and Andreas. Unless you can sell Neto for gross. That'd be even better. What would you do in the chat? You definitely bench Bailey, so it's start 2 of Nico, Neto, and Andreas. I think I'll start Nico and Andreas. Pope or Ward? Ward. Mr. Super Chat, let me scroll up. David says Cuckoo or Walker. I think Walker. Not much between the two either, but I'd say Walker just about edges it. S10 said, I've already wildcarded. Any team advice? KDB. If I was on a wildcard, maybe I can do a very quick wildcard draft. If I was on a wildcard, it would look... How would it look? It would look... It would be very close to what I'm on now. I'd probably get rid of Bailey for... Probably Bailey for Reed. I would definitely be going 5 at the back. Something like this. Maybe Saliba. If I was on a wildcard, I think it would look like that. So it's not far off where I am at the moment. I would definitely be on 5 at the back on a wildcard. Yeah, I'd have at least one Arsenal person in there, whether it's Ramsdale, Saliba, Gabriel. I'll definitely have James, definitely have Cancelo. And my third Liverpool player would be Diaz over Robertson. I would have Trent. So yeah, I'd be on a 5-3-2 on a wildcard. That'd be my draft. I think you asked about KDB. For me, Salah ahead of KDB. But that's just me. Bakis and Mikkel, thank you for also becoming members. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I think Mikkel might have even renewed his. I think he already was. Thank you for that, Mikkel. Let me scroll down, make sure I've not missed any more messages. Mitchell says, I do have enough to do Neto to Gross, Grace plus Nico. Yeah, I prefer Gross over starting Nico and Andreas. I would probably do Gross and Andreas myself, but yeah, Nico's fine as well. As I was saying earlier, if anyone wants to join my Fan Slide Mini League, linked in the top of the description. I've been playing it since last season. It's a really good game. It works quite well in terms of complementing FPL because you pick 3 players and you do it after the deadline or after the lineups. You get triple points from a player, double points from a player, and 1 times points from a player. And then every 20 minutes you have to pick a new player. So I had Luis Diaz triple captain last game. At one point I was top 10 in the global leaderboard, but then I had who was it? I think I had Nunez for his red, so I fell back off. But yeah, if you want to join my mini league, link is in the description. Really good game, and I'll be playing once the lineups drop post deadline. Centre Bowie says, hi, Nico or Da Silva? Nico or Da Silva? Probably Da Silva, just about. Fan Slide it's called. It's completely free, but I think it's 18 plus, so just bear that in mind. Link in the description if you want to play it and join my mini league. Kulusevski or Diaz, asks Paul. Diaz for me. Steve Wright says your brother is a wizard developer, bot game on point. Hang on, I have to write this down so I remember to tell my brother that, because he's going to absolutely love that you've said that. Let me copy that. In fact, I'll take a screenshot. Thanks for that, Steve. That's really nice of you. Yeah, he's talking about my website. If anyone's interested, actually, I'll quickly show you it. It's a completely free website where you can like make custom FPL kits. So you could do like fplfocal, and then you pick like any team, and you can pick any season. So for example, you could do like, you know, Invincibles. You could pick any kit basically for any team. So it's a real throwback if you like kits. Remember the old O2 kit? So if you want to give that a go, it's fplfocal.com. It's completely free, and then you can download your profile pic or banner for Twitter, whatever you want to use it for, or just to play around with it for a bit of fun. So yeah, thank you again to Mikkel and Bakis for the support there. Kieran Stewart says Walker and Reed or Nico and Jensen with money in the bank. Walker and Reed, definitely. Not convinced by Jensen right now. Walker and Reed, easily. Tom Brady asked a good question, actually. I haven't seen anyone ask this. He says, no Tuchel versus Leeds. What are your thoughts? I think it's going to be a little bit of a factor, but probably not significant. I think the more significant factor is that they've got Kante and Kovacic out. I am a bit conscious of that because that is 2 massive misses. It might be Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek in the double pivot, or maybe Jorginho and Gallagher. Do you guys think Gallagher deserves to start? Maybe it'll be Gallagher. Maybe Loftus-Cheek right wing back, James right centre back, but I hope not. Russell Baker says, kept Robbo, but Neto to Eze last night. My team value is now only 99.8 as I missed the Haaland rise. Normally good at team value at the start. Should I be concerned? No, don't be concerned, Russell. It's not the end of the world, team value. It's one of those things that is a little bit overstated. It does have a butterfly effect. You know, sometimes there'll be a game week where you're 0.1 short, but I wouldn't be worried about it. It's you know, if we look at Fabio Borges, he's the greatest FPL manager of all time. And when I interviewed him last season, he said he doesn't look at team value at all. He makes his moves very last minute, as close to the deadline as possible, because in his eyes, you get the maximum amount of information possible, and therefore you're guaranteed to make the best possible decision, as opposed to catching those early rises. So yeah, don't worry about it. Waka says, hola, transfer Trippier to Cucurella or an Arsenal defender. So I was in a similar dilemma. I had Digne and I had to sell him for, for me, it was Cucurella or an Arsenal defender. I went Cucurella, if that helps answer your question, but I think an Arsenal defender is also very, very good. I like Saliba and Gabriel. Zinchenko's not bad either. They're all good picks, but I went Cucurella. You know, he's taking corners. Tuchel loves an outswinger. So yeah, for me it's Cucurella for the more attacking threat. and good fixtures. Xhaka or Gross? Gross. Neto replacement. For me, there's a real lack of 5.5 mil midfielders as opposed to the defenders. So if you can, I would shift to a back 5 or a back 4 if you're currently playing the back 3. That's what I'm hoping to do by Gameweek 4, because there's just not really many tempting mids at that price point. I would say Gross is probably the standout. Maybe Gray, Gordon if he doesn't leave for Chelsea, and Eze. But there's not many picks. Jesus or Salah captain? For me, it's Salah. There's not much between the two. We're talking about Salah earlier. You know, he got a hat-trick in one game against United last season, a brace in the other. United looking arguably even poorer than they did last season. Andrea says Eze is underrated. I agree. I think he's a very under-the-radar pick. Oscar, thank you for the donation. That wasn't me donating to myself. Thanks for that, Oscar. There's no message, but thank you for that. Diaz or Gundogan, asks Jerry. Diaz. Did I miss another one? S10. Hang on. Sorry about that. He says, what about KDB and Salah? No Haaland as game time concerns. For me, the problem with KDB is he takes away that flexibility to Kane. You know, what if Kane gets a hat-trick this week and he looks like a must-have all of a sudden? You're going to be making a minimum of 2 moves to sell KDB or Salah, probably KDB, to get up to Kane. And I think there's not much to separate Haaland and KDB in terms of points. And also you could argue that there's way more midfielder options. In fact, it's not even an argument, it's a fact. There's way more midfielders to choose from as opposed to forwards. So Haaland uses up a nice striker slot, as does Jesus. But I don't hate the KDB pick, you know, don't be afraid to do that. Just be conscious that it makes it more awkward to move up to a striker if you need to. You know, the other argument is Son's the one that does really well, and you go KDB to Son, you know. So I don't hate it, just something to be conscious of. Hassir says Vardy or Kane captain. For me, it's Kane. I would go Kane over those two. I think it's going to be a good game week for Kane. In fact, Nathan Bacon invited me on his channel for the content creator battles, and you have to pick like 3 players that you think is going to score the highest, kind of like Fanslide. And I went for Kane, Son, and who was the third one? Salah. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good game week for Spurs. If you're on Kane or Son, I think I would really be looking forward to this game week. Who's everyone got the armband on then? Armbands in the chat. Who we gone? Salah captain, Jesus, Haaland. Anyone going differential? Son, Kane, Cancelo, James. Boy says smash the like button. Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, do hit like on it. I appreciate the support, and I don't take it for granted, all your support, so thank you for that. Mike Burke says Trippier to Cucurella from -4. It depends if you're forced to start Trippier or if you can get away starting someone like Andreas or Nico. If you can, then I wouldn't take the -4. I would just start the alternative. Andreas is on Mitrovic captain. And Q says Salah. Chris is Charis is on Kane. Dimmy's on Kane. Breeze is on Salah. So's Mehdi. Kumbi's on Trent. Joe's on Kulusevski. Onana captain. There's no way, Matt. There's no way you're on Onana captain. Just having a look if there's any early news or last minute news or leaks before the deadline. Bear with me. Doesn't look like we can have anything. We seem to be getting a lot less this season, but you know, I know we've only had a couple of game weeks, but there's not been a great amount of leaks, has there? Let's see. No, nothing. In fact, we had people in the stream last game week saying Bailey was benched, and you know, when you don't know, when it's an unreliable source, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But I wish I'd listened to them now. Delia says, make sure you subscribe to the channel, everyone. You heard Delia. hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 100k. Working towards that YouTube play button. Can we hit it by game week 4? Or by the end of the month? Alvin Blocks in the chat, he says, Edison's set and forget for you. Yeah, he is. For me, he was always set and forget. My plan was to keep him up until the first wildcard and then make a decision. I'll make wildcard after game week 8 because that's an international break, so it seems like a prime slot. And obviously Man City's fixtures turn, so maybe there's a chance to move him. But also, the international break falls perfectly between game week 1 and the World Cup. The World Cup between game week 16 and 17. You can see here 12th of November, my birthday by the way. And then game week 17 is the 26th of December. So yeah, it kind of fits perfectly down the middle. So maybe Edison leaves my team then. But for now, he's set and forget, yeah. ZV says, Jesus captain, definitely. Final reminder, there's a couple of minutes till the deadline. Make sure your bench is in the right order. It's something easy to overlook, having your bench in the right order. Sometimes you unexpectedly need to call upon your bench, so make sure it's in the right order. You know, in my case, I just don't trust Bailey. So he's going to be second on my bench and Nico ahead of him. Start Ben Mee or Pascal Gross? Gross. Thoughts on Damsgaard? He's a wait and see for me. Eric says, any news on Andreas? Marcus Silva said that everyone who was available last game week is available again. So that, to me, suggests that Andreas is perfectly fine. Hence, I'm starting him. JM says, happy birthday. Oh, it's a bit early. It's the 12th of November. But thank you in advance. Start Alisson or Ward? Alisson. De Silva or Neto? De Silva. Wilson to Tony. Yeah, I like that move. Adam says lock. Tori says Manby Liverpool might be called off. I'd be incredibly surprised. I know it happened before once, but I'd be very, very surprised if the police allow that to happen. Adam says locked. XRTYS says deadline passed. Andreas says good luck guys. Adam in the chat. How are we doing, Adam? Adam says locked it is. Big shout out to Adam. Adam tuned in to my first ever live stream. I streamed for 3 hours and it was literally just Adam that tuned in. So it's just me and him chatting for about 3 hours. It was a really, really terrible stream setup. I just did it for a bit of fun because I was bored during lockdown. And I never thought it would amount to anything. And perhaps if Adam wasn't there for my first ever stream, I never would have wanted to come back and do a second one. Because if I was there for streaming for an hour, 2 hours to basically no one, then what's the incentive to come back? But me and Adam had a great chat on my first ever stream. It got about 2 views in total. But no, I came back, did another stream, and that was only about a year or so ago, and the rest is history. So thank you, Adam. Shout out to Adam. Lucas says good luck. Beaver says good luck. Before everyone goes, if you have enjoyed the stream, please do hit like on it. I've really enjoyed it. It's been another great stream. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We are closing in fast on 100k subscribers. And speaking of the throwback to when I was only streaming to a few people, we're going to raid a guy called FPL Link. I want to go show him some love because he's only just started streaming or just started doing videos, but he's really good with his commentary. His graphics are really nice. So we're going to head over to his stream. We're going to go raid him. Tell him that fplfocal sent you. And I'll see you over at his stream. Everyone, let's go raid FPL Link. Show him some love. He's a brand new YouTuber. And thank you all for tuning in. As I say, if you have enjoyed it, please do like the stream, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you this week for the next one. Focal out.